up, guys? Sorry I'm late.
No, do not be sorry. Hey, Brian just switches over. There we go. Don't be sorry, Bo. Don't be sorry. We actually just had a little joke there. We just had a little joke because we said, Bo Nickal is so dedicated. He's so honorable. He's such a great guy. Talks about gratitude and all that. He's not the type of guy to show up late. Literally just said, I think he might have forgot because we only did it last minute yesterday. So I apologize.
No, I feel bad. I got a elk mount from last fall. I shot a bull elk, and so I was mounting it on my wall, and I got distracted.
Yeah. No, don't be silly. Don't be silly. So you hunted an elk, a giant elk. You've taken it home, obviously, slaughtered it. I don't know. What do you call it? What do you call it when you chop it up?
Butcher it or process it.
Okay, and now you've got the head mounted on the wall.
So I keep it classy. I go with what's called a European mount. So it's just the skull and the antlers. It's not like a full
I see.
shoulder mount. I like them both, though. I just think the Euro mount looks classy. So
yeah. No, it does. It does. We love some nice antlers in our house. We've got a few of them. So what do you do with the head there to get it to the skull? Do you just boil it down?
Yeah, boil it. Well, this one, since it's from Colorado, so it's not local. So I gave it to a taxidermist to process it. So I don't know exactly how they did it, but I'm assuming they probably boiled it and stuff. And
how big was the elk?
It was pretty massive. It was probably 700-800 pounds. There was a 5x6 antler, so it was good size. But yeah, I was eating it for pretty much the entire year. Got like over 200 pounds of meat, so it was very, very awesome.
Yeah, no, because I think you said that right after you beat. Sorry, forgive me. What was his name? Val Woodburn. After you beat Val Woodburn, you said you were going to go hunting, right?
Yeah, that's the plan for this September. So I got a couple of hunts planned. I'm going to do Colorado, New Mexico, and then a couple more back east for some deer and stuff. So I got a few planned. I'm excited about.
Nice. Well, you got a few other things planned as well. We hear you talking about Khamzat Chimaev. We hear you talking about the Allegiant Stadium. So a lot of lofty goals. But before we get there, let's talk about Val Woodburn. First of all, congratulations, because I think what you did there, and this is no surprise to you, but how much of a focus was it to go out there and use the hands? So you're not labeled as a wrestler.
It really wasn't a focus. For me, the goal was to just go out there and win. And I think that the more I develop as a fighter and learn to use these other skills and, I'm getting better at these other martial arts, obviously, that I'm practicing a lot. So I think that stuff like that just kind of happens. But for me, the goal was initially go out there, take him down, submit him, get him out of there, low risk, least amount of danger as possible. But the first real punch I landed wobbled him pretty heavy. And so then I just kind of let the instincts take over and took him out.
Is that the first time in MMA you've had a stoppage like that?
No, my first pro fight, I knocked the guy out very similarly, about 30 seconds.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah.
So that one was, but definitely against a much lower level guy. I mean, my first pro fight was against an 0-0 guy who he had maybe 20 amateur fights, which was a lot of amateurs, but he was making his pro debut, same as me. But this time competing against a 7-0 professional fighter is definitely a little different. So I felt like, my skills are just kind of improving, and it showed.
So I think I know the answer to this, and it seems like I've been looking into this far too much, because when the fight started, you went out, you threw you level change, you threw like a double leg attempt, okay? And he stuffed it. And afterwards, I was like, that was a fake takedown attempt. He did not intend to take him down. That was to get him thinking about the takedowns so you can let go with the hands. Am I right, or am I out of my mind?
Yeah, 100%. For me,
I cracked the code.
Yeah, you got it. Initially, I thought that, this guy, he's a huge underdog. He probably doesn't really think he can win. He's going to come out and just rush me. He's going to blitz me, throw a bunch of looping punches, try to land something crazy, maybe try to throw a knee and, just rush into me. And then I was going to slip outside, throw straight left hand and take him down. And, he didn't do that. He sat back. He started to, he was actually looking to, fight, defend. And which I think was, an interesting strategy. It wasn't what I expected, but he stuck to the game plan right away, which was it was just kind of, so I had to make adjustments on the fly. I was like, okay, so now I'm not going to be able to counter. He's trying to counter. So let me throw something at him. So first punch straight, I threw a straight left, but I looped it a little bit just with the adrenaline and stuff. And it went right by his face. It just barely missed him. And I was like, dang it. I thought if I would have landed that, I think it would have knocked him out. But from there, I had thrown that punch. He tried to counter me. And so now I'm thinking, all right, I need to get him more worried about my wrestling. So then one of my best takedown, straight left hand into a double leg. So I throw straight left hand, and I'm just thinking just hit him with my shoulder, right? Just get low, kind of see where his hips are at, see how he feels, and see where he sprawls. I'm not going to fully commit myself, but I'm just going to see what he does. So I throw the straight left, hit him hard with my shoulder, and he kind of hit me heavy with his hips. And I was like, okay, that was good. Good, little defense there, but all right, let's see what else you're going to do now. So now then from there, I start playing with my front hand. I drop my front hand down just to kind of see where his front hand goes. And he immediately full arms down, looking like trying to underhook me. And then in that moment, it seems like when the fight's happening, it's happening in slow motion. It's happening. It seemed like there was 10 seconds where I got to decide what I'm going to do next. And so then I just decided, all right, bro, you're about to get a right hook. So I drop down, boom, come over with the right hook. And I immediately knew that I hit him hard. And so then, again, the time slowed. So it's kind of like me deciding what I'm going to do. Am I going to throw a straight left hand? Am I going to take him down? Is he hurt enough to where is he hurt enough to the point where he's still dangerous, or is he not going to be able to touch me? And then I decided to throw a straight left hand. I landed another shot. And then from there, I knew it was over. I knew he wasn't going to be able to hit me with anything damaging. So then I just put him out.
See, obviously we've spoke about, your history in combat sports, and you've been around it for so long. But again, that's proving so helpful, because the way you're talking now, what was that, your fifth fight?
Mm-hmm.
That is an incredibly high fight IQ, and the fact that you're able to stay so calm and composed, and the fact that your mind is thinking like that. Because when I started fighting, geez Louise, the first 10, 15 fights, everything was just a blur, to be honest. I wasn't able to, coherently think and slow my mind down. Have you always been able to do that?
I was able to do that in wrestling, and I think that helped me a lot in wrestling. And it did seem to me towards the end of my career that matches would just happen very slowly, and I'd be able to pick and choose what I decided to do. But with fighting, I feel like that's really come on my last two fights. Before that, there was I think a little more nervous energy, a little more adrenaline, and I was more so just, get him on the ground or reacting. And now I feel like I'm able to slow the fight down a little bit more. I'm able to kind of strategize, plan, and set my opponent up. That's what I've really been working on a lot lately. I would say the main thing I've been working on is how can I use my wrestling to set everything up, to dress everything up, right? At the end of the day, I'm more than likely want to take my opponent down. Or, let's say if we want to strike, I'm probably going to want to land a straight two, right? That's a lot of times people's strongest punch. I have a good straight two. So you don't, if I'm going into a fight, I'm not just going to go out there and throw the straight two and shoot a double leg. It's how do I dress it up? How do I make it look like something else? How do I get information out of my opponent to where I see how he's going to react? I can now predict it and then come at him with something versus just rush in blind, So now it's, to me, a lot about thinking, planning ahead. And that's a big part of, fighting that I love is that strategy. And yeah, I just have really enjoyed competing the last couple of times because I think I've been able to do that a little bit.
Yeah. Excuse me. No, that's really interesting. And I think, because still, sadly, there's critics to this sport that don't understand the finer nuances and don't really understand the technical abilities and the amount of training that goes in there. But just to hear you talking about that and talking about the strategic side, of course, we do that all the time as announcers, as analysts. But you laid that out pretty well. Let me ask you this. Here's a question. And we need the truth. We need the truth, Bo, because I know you're a wrestler at heart. And you gotta stay true to the boys, okay? To Penn State or your coaches, whatever it is, right? But UFC debut, pay-per-view, Jamie Pickett, take him down. You submit the guy. Last time out, pay-per-view opener. You go out, you take him out with these bad boys. Which one felt better? Which one did you prefer?
I'll be 100% honest. Like you said, I'm a wrestler through and through. Knocking somebody out is the best feeling in the world. You can't compare
It's amazing.
It's incredible, really. Like when you put the guy out, it's over. They're on the ground. You get up. It's unbelievable. Even pinning a guy, in wrestling, whatever it is, it doesn't compare. So, for me, I just want to continue to be wise to that and know that's I can't let that like overcome everything else that goes into a fight, right? Like I'm still going to be fighting smart. I'm still going to train a certain way. Yeah, it's the best feeling ever, but it's emotional.
I know. And I think you see, because it is a trap. You see a lot of great wrestlers falling into this trap. They come to the UFC, they're all about the wrestling, they start finishing people with hands, and then they abandon their wrestling. You know what I mean? And they're just pure strikers. Kamaru Usman. I mean, there's so many.
For sure. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. After the fight, any talk with the UFC about a potential return? I mean, I don't think you took a single shot. I mean, I'm assuming you're going to get it back in there pretty quick.
I haven't talked with Dana or Hunter. I'm going to take like another week and just kind of think about things. Talk with my coach, Mike Brown, my management team, first round management. And, we have a lot of options. For me, I would like to fight again. Honestly, I would, as a competitor, I would love to fight again as soon as possible. But then when I take a step back and I look at my career and the trajectory that I'm headed on and how the last years went and just kind of assess everything from, trying to be unbiased and not emotional because, at the end of the day, my favorite thing to do is go out and compete in front of 20,000 people and on a pay-per-view. And that's the most exciting part of what I get to do. But there's also an analytical side of what's the best move for my career. I'm barely 13 months into being a professional. I fought 5 times the last 13 months. And I want to continue to develop my skills and improve and get better. And a lot of that happens in training. And when I train this last year, I've really just been in training camp, right? Like, and training camp is a different animal than just training and working on your skills and being creative, that type of thing. So I could see myself fighting in December. I could also see myself taking a little more time off, maybe 6-8 months and just training, improving, getting better and fighting early next year. So that's stuff that I'll, again, continue to consult my coaches on, consult my management team and see what's best for me. But, I'm not in a rush. I'll get the belt when the time comes and when I'm ready to do it. And so, I see myself fighting 3-4 more times, fighting ranked guys. And I'm probably not going to have to fight, 10 ranked guys to get to the belt. I'm probably going to be able to, fight a guy in the top 15, fight a guy in the top 5, maybe one more guy, get to the title. And there's a lot of what ifs, but I'm just trying to map it out as best I can.
Yeah, and it's hard to disagree with you. I always say this every time I speak to you. I mean, listen, we all know about your wrestling history and what you're capable of and what you've done so far. And when you speak about yourself, it's not from a position of arrogance or boasting or there's nothing like that at all. I think it's just an awareness of the body of work that you've put in, the sacrifices you've made throughout the years, and the results speak for themselves. I do agree with you. I do think it is probably going to be that kind of trajectory. You're very mature as well. Sorry, I don't mean to condescend you and stand, but a lot of fighters, their egos can get the better of them. You know what I'm saying? I don't pick up that vibe from you at all. I think your problem is going to be finding opponents, though. I know we talked about this last time we spoke, but I can't imagine. I mean, Val Woodburn in some ways was perfect because when you're not in the UFC, they say, take this fight, and more than likely they get rewarded with another crack of the whip, right? But if I'm just signed with the UFC, I don't want to take you on. If I'm ranked in the UFC, I don't want to take you on. I fought tooth and nail to get to this point, and I'm going to throw it away to Bo Nickal,
right?
The wrestling superstar that's just going to ragdoll 99.999% of the population.
Right. Yeah. I think that with that being said, the UFC is definitely offering these guys a lot of money, right? That can entice people. It's not something where it's like, hey, fight Bo Nickal for 12 and 12. They're definitely up in the contracts. I know they're paying guys extra and stuff. And and I think a lot of people still don't really realize what they're getting into when they're fighting me. and I don't mean to, again, I don't feel like I'm an arrogant guy. I feel like the way I compete, the way I fight is humility is one of the strong principles that I feel like that's my foundation. And so, but I do think that at the same time that most of these guys just don't understand what it's like to actually get in there with me. You know, they're confident until the bell rings, until I grab them. And so I think there will be guys that want to test themselves and believe that they can beat me. They've maybe wrestled with other Division I wrestlers, maybe even an All-American, or maybe even an NCAA champion type guy. But, you know, that's not me. I'm a different level from that. There was guys that were the top in the country that I would throw down and pin in less than 60 seconds on a regular basis, you know, and that's just the facts. You can check the stats on that. It's not, myself sound any better than I am. But, you know, I think so. But I think a lot of guys don't really understand that. They don't really know that. They've never obviously felt what that's like. And so I think that they're interested to find out, and I'm interested.
They are interested to find out. I'm interested to find out. Obviously, I mean, I'm old and washed up, my bloody body's destroyed. But whenever I hear about somebody like you, and there's other examples as well, I always think, I wonder, how could you do? Do you know what I mean? Because as a fighter, as a competitor, as a guy that wrestles and grapples and stuff, you do think, I mean, obviously you are a specialist of all specialists. So, you know, I'm going to don't be alarmed if I grab hold of you one day. I'm just trying to body lock you.
I would love to. For me, I love rolling, wrestling, anything like that. It's the most fun thing for me. So whatever, we can roll for sure.
No. We'll make it happen one day. So I always say you're like the ultimate good guy, the ultimate example, you know, to young men. I mean, because you're so far. I mean, listen, it's early days. We don't know how you're going to end up. You might end up like Conor McGregor. The fame might go to your head. You know, you start making the money. You know, you're telling everyone to go fuck themselves. We don't know. We don't know where Bo Nickal's going to go. But right now, you're the ultimate good guy. And your ultimate dream is to go up against the ultimate bad guy, the Bond villain, Khamzat Chimaev at the Allegiant Stadium. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, you know, I just think what better way to, I won't even say culminate a career, but to just have a milestone than to compete against a guy who everybody is afraid of, who, you know, has so much hype and so much excitement. And honestly, he's just that good, you know, like he's backed it up with every single performance that he's had. He's you know, performed incredibly. And, you know, a lot of people aren't interested in fighting him for whatever reason, but I want to be that guy. And I want to be the guy that kind of, if I want to get to the level that I want to be in this sport, to be the pound for pound #1 guy on the planet, and to go down, you know, as one of the greatest fighters that has competed in the octagon, that's the type of events that I have to be in. You know, Allegiant Stadiums, 70,000 people or whatever in the crowd, me versus Khamzat, USA versus Russia. I think that there's just no better story in MMA right now than that. We're really like two forces just kind of heading towards each other, destined to collide, I feel. And, you know, I think at the same time, this is definitely in the future. You know, for me, I want to get to 10-0, 11-0, 12-0, establish myself in the game, build my reputation. Hopefully one of us is champ at the time. I think that it's a fight that has to be for the belt. And I think that it would just be that much more exciting. And that's what a fight like this deserves. So, you know, that's something that I have in my mind. I keep it on my mind every day, training, running, you know, all the sacrifices I make. That's what I'm working towards. And I don't think I'm maybe on his radar as much. And I think that makes sense, just given our positions in the sport, right? He's gunning for the belt in the top 5, right up there. I'm just now starting, but at the same time, you know, that's where my mind's at, and that's where I'm headed. And I don't think that there's going to be anything that stops me from getting to that point. I just hope that he continues to win, because I think we both have to be undefeated at the time for it to get its due again. But yeah, I'm fired up. I think about this stuff, and it makes me grind even more. And, you know, I hope he's working hard too, because I want to beat him at his absolute best.
I mean, if you think about it, you know, with the political climate as well, I mean, if you build this the right way, Russia versus USA, 2 undefeated in the UFC, it'd be a blockbuster. for sure. Well, listen, we're going to let you go with a few questions off Twitter. Harrington, our producer, has been beavering away in the background, I believe, and should have a few tasteful, respectable, and well-delivered questions, Harrington.
I got a couple of them. So just following up on that, just technically, the Twisted Steel 213 wants to know, give us your breakdown of how that fight goes down with Khamzat. Also, he wants to know about how your transition from wrestling to MMA, how effective it is to wrestle under the unified rules.
And then just real quick, on Khamzat's wrestling accolades, do you look at them and kind of giggle?
Yeah, it was actually funny. I saw a video the other day of him competing against a guy, and it was quite a few years ago, however long, 5, 6, 7 years ago. But I was just watching it. I watched some highlights of him wrestling, right? And he looks good, but then he's competing against like 16-year-old kids, and it's like, well, okay, that's a joke. But anyways, I was watching it, and it was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this match, kind of break him down, see what he's doing. And literally, the only thing he did was fake double leg, and I'm like, dude, we have every 8-year-old in Pennsylvania can do that exact same thing, like at the same skill level you're doing. And yeah, he wrestled hard and stuff, but I was just like, this guy's a good wrestler. What are we talking about? Like, I don't know, but I don't mean to be negative towards people's skills and stuff. I obviously respect his skills, and MMA is a completely different ball game, right? Like, if we were to wrestle in a match, it's a joke. Like, it'll end in sub 60 seconds. Like, I'll kill that guy. It's not even competitive. But in an MMA fight, like I said, different ball game. I think my skills in wrestling translate very well to MMA. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. And so, with folk style wrestling, the application to MMA, I think, is the strongest out of any combat sport. And that's what I have, the highest level folk style wrestling in the world. And yeah, when I look at his skills and what he does in the cage, I respect it a lot. I think that he is somebody that he competes super hard. He has a good gas tank. He's got a lot of dangerous weapons. He obviously has good grappling. He's able to take a lot of guys down and control them there. I think that if we were to fight, that there's zero chance he's taking me down. I think I'm actually going to be holding him on the ground, especially given the fact, I'm 210 pounds. I'm 6'1". I'm not a 170 pounder like most of the guys that he's fighting right now. It's a different animal when 170 to 85 is a big jump. And I know he's a big 70, but you're talking about a different size human. And so, I wouldn't be surprised if I dominated him in the grappling, was able to hold him down. And I guarantee you I'll get him tired as well, just because I have too many competition reps in me and too much high level experience I don't get tired in competition. And I think that he would probably be super emotional charged going into the fight, and I would take advantage of that.
Interesting. Very interesting. I just want to follow up on that. Because I believe you when you talk, because you're not the type of guy that's going to blow your own trumpet. The proof is in the pudding. Throughout all the years of you working with these high-level coaches, have they identified, of course you work hard, you're disciplined, you put in all the effort, you've got a good mind for the sport, you're analytical, whatever it is. Is there something, though, what makes you so good at what you do? What's always made you so special? Have coaches identified a certain character trait?
I think that I don't know that there's one specific trait that has helped me excel. I think that, to your point, I've just been really fortunate to be around a lot of great people. And I feel like my dad was a coach. And so I grew up I respected coaches a lot. I listened, I was coachable. And I think if anything, the main thing that has got me to this point is being coachable, is being open, not feeling like, oh, I can't improve. Like, I'm the best there is. Like, I don't need to listen to somebody. I always had so much respect for my dad growing up, so much respect for my coaches. And it was the same thing at Penn State. I never felt like I was ever too good to do anything, right? But
there's a lot of people like that. There's a lot of people that are great. You know what I mean? I'm assuming you're strong as a bastard.
Yeah, I definitely don't feel like anybody I compete against is stronger than me. But it's just a lifetime of work. I think that, while most people are coachable and they do all these things, they'll do it intermittently, right? They'll do it for a couple days a week, or they'll do it for a couple months a year, or maybe they'll do it for a couple years and then they'll stop. But I've been so dedicated and so focused on combat sports since I was 5-6 years old. I remember at probably 5, 6, 7, I was wrestling 30, 40 matches a year, and then by the time I was 8, 9, and 10, I was wrestling almost 100 matches a year. From 10 to 15, I probably wrestled 200 matches every year. And, then in high school, I was still competing 100 matches a year. So I have thousands and thousands of matches, and I was always dedicated. I played other sports. I played football and baseball. I ran track. But when I got home, I was watching film on wrestling. I would watch Big Ten Network, watch college wrestling, go on Flow Wrestling, watch the Olympics. Like, I just lived
Obsession.
it. I was
obsessed.
And it's something, some people are obsessed for a certain amount of time and then they lose it, right? Like a lot of fighters, you see them, they start out their career, or they're at a point in their career where they just skyrocket and then they lose it. For me, I've been obsessed since I was a little kid, and now I'm 27, right? So 21 years of absolute obsession, kind of, it adds up.
Well, I mean, anyone wants to follow in your footsteps, take a listen to that and listen very, very carefully. Bo, we got a million things to get to. We're going to let you go. We're going to thank you for your time. And we're going to say congratulations once again on the recent performance. Can't wait to see you back in there. Keep doing what you're doing. You're a huge inspiration to a lot of people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate you for having me on.